Why do Muslims commit terror attacks and then...
Why do Jews commit terror attacks?
They don't anywhere near the same rate. It's a false equivalence.
Oh, really?
It's
The equivalence is with the development of the countries.
As an Asian guy, ever committed a terrorist attack?
Not at the same rate at all.
Whoa, why did Pearl Harbor just get the fuck out of your head? That not happen?
That's not a
Oh
terror.
my God, fuck all Asians. Fuck all Asians,
We
right?
never said that
Fuck all
Jews don't
Asians.
commit terrorist
Because-
attacks,
no,
but they don't
you
commit
said
them
that
at anywhere
all-
near the same rate as Muslims do. That's the point. Everyone commits terrorist attacks, but not anywhere near the same rate as Muslims. And this is born in facts. You have no arguments, dude. You're being pretentious and conceited. Exactly.
Why do Muslims do faith tests before they execute people?
I'm not going to shut up for you, dude. You were talking this entire time, and you have no arguments. Calm the fuck down. What's your problem? No, I'm not going to attack you because I'm not a violent prick like you.
I asked you to shut the fuck up. That's all. I shut the fuck up for you. I went like
You
this.
did it. You
You're on fucking camera, bro.
That's fucking pretentious. That's not actually listening to me.
Why? What are you afraid I'm a Muslim?
You have no arguments.
I have no
Can you
argument.
actually
Why
refute
don't
my
you shut the
points?
fuck up and check out my
If you refute my points, I will.
I know my rules.
Keep it peaceful, guys.
Look how violent you're getting over a fucking argument.
Trump say?
No, the argument is not. It's called you being rude.
You were doing this while I was talking, bro. That's not respectful. No, you were doing it in a
You have to
mocking
take a speech class in your
manner.
life.
These are not arguments.
Gets the attention from the person.
Can you refute my argument that Muslims disproportionately commit crime as opposed to Jews and Christians?
Can you let me speak?
And terrorism.
Can you let me speak? Let's see what he said.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Look, man. I honestly lost my track of thought because of what you did. But I'm gonna
Just answer his question, though.
What the fuck did I do?
Just reset
Okay,
the question.
I'll let you. Okay, so
Reset the question.
to phrase it, you said that we claim that Jews don't commit terrorist attacks, so that Christians don't. But we did not claim that. We think that we know that borne out in statistics, Muslims disproportionately commit terrorism as opposed to Jews and Christians. So that's why it's a bigger problem.
No. You are scared of Muslims, I guess, because you think that the major majority has killed people, right? Now, hasn't there been a time when a major majority of Asians, as I'm going to go back and say, bombed the fuck out of America?
It was one country, and they didn't. It was one country.
Let him finish, and I want to hear you. Just let him finish, and I want to hear you. But finish your point, and I want to hear you.
The difference is that Judaism does not command the killing of non-Jews.
Whoa, how did Jews come in here? I'm talking about Asians. Why did Asians just bomb America? And
Because it's not a
somehow-
religion.
It's not for religious reasons.
That was a state
So
actor.
how is it
As far as I know, there's
religious
Taoism.
reasons?
That was a
but
state
to
actor.
A bunch of Asians.
That was a state actor.
We'll see.
It was
Again,
so there's always a reason why it's okay, but when it comes to
Again, the problem with
Jews,
Islam.
okay, how come we like Germans? Why the fuck do you guys all love Jews, but you guys like Germans? What the fuck?
Because they stopped killing
They
Jews.
stopped killing Jews.
straw man.
So you're telling me that till today there has never been a German guy who assassinated at least a fucking. You're gonna tell me this is real? At least a restaurant full of Jews.
That's my agenda. Let's turn to Jason Collins. This is the sports star that came out. You tweeted this. So Jason Collins is a hero because he's gay. Our standard for heroism has dropped quite a bit since Normandy. Why such a cheap shot against a guy who did a pretty brave thing?
I don't think it's a cheap shot. I think that heroism is defined by willingness to sacrifice in favor of, and take a real personal risk in favor of a noble, larger goal. This may be a noble, larger goal, but I'm not sure what the risk is.
First male American athlete in history to come out as gay while still playing.
Martina Navratilova came out in 1981. That was
male.
3 years before I was born.
I said male.
So let me ask you something, Piers. Why do you hate Americans so much that you think this is such a homophobic country that when Jason Collins comes out, it is the biggest deal in the history of humanity? President Obama has to personally call him to congratulate
Why
him.
do I hate America so much?
That you think that we are such a homophobic country.
I think you may be homophobic simply because you said,
Really?
why is Jason Collins a hero? Because he's gay.
I don't understand why.
Why sneer at a guy for coming out when he's being courageous?
I'm not sneering at him for
Aren't
coming
you
out.
the one being homophobic?
I don't think it's homophobic to simply say we're apathetic about people's personal lives.
You're the one who thinks your government's going to invade and attack you, which is fairly anti-American sentiment.
I don't think that my
You're
government is going to
the one who
do
thinks
that.
this guy
I think there's a
isn't
possibility.
brave because he came out. So when you call
I
me
think that America
anti-American
is a fundamentally good
homophobic,
place,
you're going to
Piers.
be your own backyard.
I think that America is a fundamentally good place. The fact is this, Piers, you're British, and a lot of folks have said you should leave the country because you're British. You come on here every night and you speak in a British accent. That doesn't make you a hero. That makes you being who you are.
I'm
Jewish.
To be a hero.
I understand. I'm Jewish. I wear a yarmulke on TV, right? There's a lot of anti-Semitism. There are people who are killed in anti-Semitic attacks, per capita, as many hate crimes against Jews as against gays in this country. America is not an anti-Semitic country, and I'm not a hero for wearing a yarmulke. Being who you are in 2013 in America is what America is about. It is not heroic to be who you are publicly. I'm glad for Jason Collins if he feels that he's going to live a happier life now. But it does not make you a hero to be who you are, because America is not a homophobic country.
You know what, Ben? Come off it.
Come off it.
Got to leave it there, but come off it.
Oh, is that
Give
an
the guy a
argument?
break. He's the first one to come out. He's a brave guy. I applaud him.
I'm glad the president calls him.
To have your first thought to be to get on Twitter and sneer at him?
No,
I'm cheap.
I think what's cheap is
small.
ripping on America and calling it essentially a homophobic country. So homophobic that we need to...
calling America homophobic.
Piers,
You're the only one that's mentioned it.
Piers, you cover stories in which man bites dog, not in
You're
which
the only
dog
person
bites
that's
man.
mentioned America's homophobic.
No, you know it's
Ben,
homophobic.
Got to
the
leave it there.
implication.
But seriously, nobody mentioned America being homophobic. You're going mad.
Then why the big deal?
Ben Shapiro, come back soon. On the grill there, and well roasted he was too. When we come back, Reese Witherspoon's drunken.
So some are asking what's left to protest. Lisa, let's start with you.
Well, there's still more to protest because, unfortunately, Ferguson was not the first nor the last incident where we have had racial unrest between the police and black Americans in the street. As we know, Sandra died in prison. We don't know if she killed herself. So this is happening all over the country. However, I was not happy to hear that when they had this one-year anniversary march, that there was going to be this kind of violence by, you know, one or two idiots. That always happens. It was a very peaceful situation, and there were no incidents until this one situation took place. And I got to tell you, I was mortified. I fell to the floor. I couldn't believe it was going on. But I don't mean to make excuses, but I feel like if there was never a Ferguson to begin with, if there was never a Michael Brown incident, there would never have been a today. There wouldn't have been a year later. There would be no anniversary of any of that. So I do look at historically why these kinds of things never end well. Racism is not good for anybody. It all ends badly for everyone. There are no winners ever. So
Lisa,
we shouldn't have had to have
You bring
that
up
situation.
history, and I want to go into something that Representative Emmanuel Cleaver said on MSNBC's Morning Joe this morning. We have his quote. He said, "I tell people that Ferguson a year ago was 1955. Today it's 1965. So there's been change. It means, though, we are a long way from getting Ferguson into a state where it is part of the 21st century. It's coming, but it's coming slowly." Larry,
Unfortunately.
Larry, let me ask you, is that an accurate depiction? Are we in 1965?
I haven't seen this massive kind of lack of critical thinking since the O.J. Simpson case. This is nonsense. Police shootings against blacks are down 75% over 30 years. And have we forgotten that both the DOJ and the grand jury exonerated Officer Darren Wilson?
Thank you.
Michael Brown did not have his hands up. He was not running away. This is a bunch of nonsense. And crime has gone up because cops have pulled back. Bad guys know that. So the very same people that these protesters claim that they care about in Baltimore, in New York, in Chicago, in Philadelphia, has seen crime go up.
Well, I want to also point, guys, to... Well, hold on one second, Lisa, because I want to talk about a new Pew poll that highlights what Larry was just saying there. 53% of whites and 86% of blacks feel there is more that can be done about racism in America. Both of these numbers are up from 2014. There were only 39% of whites and 78% of blacks believe that racism was an issue in 2014. Larry mentioned all that stuff about the Michael Brown case, which actually sparked this Black Lives Matter movement. But it seems that is just the facade to all this. Obviously, there are racial issues that remain. But where does the Black Lives Matter movement go from this? Because they're not getting their point across, obviously.
That's the issue. When racism is on board, the waters get murky. Once you have a bunch of cops killing a bunch of black men and women, and wrongfully so, we can't now tell the
But that's the narrative, Lisa. The statistics don't bear that out.
What bunch of white cops are killing a bunch of black men?
If we did not have the rabid murders of innocent black people, we would be able to decipher
more whites get killed by cops than blacks do.
Guys and the good
2.5 times as many whites get killed by cops than blacks do. It's nonsense. You're getting black people killed because cops are pulling back, and the black guys know that. Murders are up 20% in New York City. Baltimore has not seen this level of murders in 40 years. You think there's a connection between this and the nonsense that a lot of these activists are putting out? I certainly do.
It does seem, Larry, you know, based on what you're saying, and that statistic is true, more whites are killed by police than blacks, but it's almost like the Black Lives Matter needs to go back to the drawing board and start over again, because
they don't
this
care
whole
about
movement...
The facts don't seem to matter to these people.
The whole movement was based on a false...
Why do we need to go back to the... Why must we go back to the drawing board? Because you said so? I don't think so.
No, not because
Black
I said so,
Lives
Lisa,
Matter
because
is a
it's all
hashtag.
based on the
No, we don't
Michael
have to go
Brown
back to the
killing,
drawing board.
which was proven to be by the DOJ not racially motivated, and Darren Wilson has been acquitted, as Larry was quick to point out.
But we should also mention that
it wasn't racially motivated?
That's right. It wasn't racially motivated. What's your evidence that it was?
Hold on, no. I
What is
think
your evidence that Darren Wilson was trying to kill Michael Brown because Michael Brown is black? Where is your evidence?
White power, that's a fucking problem, right? Oh my God, look at this racially inspired group from Donald Trump. No, I haven't been practicing. This is what I live. This is what I breathe. This is what I live in. I'm being honest with you. I'm being honest with you. You allow Black Lives Matter on campus, but you don't allow white power on campus. Why not? It's the same shit. Neither both are hate group, but neither are productive. So if you denounce one, denounce the other. Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization. That's what it is. I'm being honest with you, bro. I'm being honest with you. Let me tell you something. Listen, chill. But let me be honest with you. I just want to say this, right? I want to tell you something right now. African Americans make up 13% of the population, yet commit over 50% of the violent gun and drug crime in the United States.
And you don't think there's a problem with
No, that's true. It's 55%. Okay. Right? So 95% of that is to other blacks. So me as an African American, I have a 2,000 time more likelihood to be shot and killed by another black man leaving this event than I do by a white person, a police officer, and a neo-Nazi.
So you don't think that's a
2,000 times more percent. I mean, we're killing us as African Americans. We're killing each other. That's what the real fucking problem is.
Yo, this is a reverse mirror. She supposed to be talking.
I'm being honest with you. That's what the problem is. That's what the problem is. This is me and my brother right here. We got to stand together, man. Oh, but listen. I'm being honest. If Obama would have stood up and said, "Look, we're killing each other. We've got a problem within the African American community," he would have been phenomenal. But he's gonna make it white people and of course
she walked away.
Yeah, nothing there. You left, man. I'm being honest. I'm just being honest.
You're a young motherfucker. The left is too busy playing identity politics.
Yeah, I'm just being honest. I just had to say that, man. I'm being honest. I'm just completely honest. I'm 2,000 times more likely to be shot and killed by another black man leaving this event tonight, than I am any other race, color, creed, or police officer. That's where the fucking pain comes, man. That's sad. I can't hang out in black neighborhoods. I can't do that. I can't because it's a risk for me. It's a risk. It's sad. There's a problem within the African American community and it needs to be addressed. Obama didn't address it because he wanted the black vote, and Al Sharpton didn't address it because he's making millions of dollars off of victims.